Welcome to the Adventure Art Photography podcast with CEO and founder John Adams. Adventure Art Photography will take you on an extraordinary experience to capture images in some of the most epic locations. They take care of all the tour details so you can simply show up and focus on your art. John joins us today for another inspiring conversation that will help take your photography to the next level. So in today's episode, I'm talking to John Adams from Adventure Art Photography, and we're talking about why arrogance is bad in the photography world. Now, that's a can of worms right there, but why is competition or arrogance not always helpful to take great photos, John?
Yeah, well, it's an interesting one because a lot of photography clubs around the place are actually based on this model where they actually have a competition night, and I think there's some competition can be helpful. I will start off with that. Like there can be sometimes where it can be helpful because it can help push you to a degree, but it can actually hold people back from actually sharing their secrets or actually sharing their skills with other people. It really isn't nice to hang out with people that actually are arrogant and they think they're a little bit better than you or so. And so I feel like that can really hold back, and especially what we do with our ventures. We have this statement because I feel like when people come with that sense of of learning and wanting to share that, if you've got amazing skills, wanting to share it with others, it just makes for such a different tour than when you've got people that think they're a little bit better than everybody. So I feel like everybody wins when you share and you collaborate and you just have this sense of community instead of competition. If that makes sense.
So talk about a personal experience where you found being part of a photography community positively impacted the photos you took.
It starts for me when I got out with one of my mates and we actually shot a lot and then would challenge each other. But it was always in an encouraging way. It's like, oh, what if we did this? What if we did that? Oh, I love that. How'd you do that? Rather than, I don't do it like that, approach. And since then, to grow on your question there, on tour, like I see that every time we go out on adventures with our guests, we see that in spades where people are sharing their lives as well as their photography in a sense and their different way they see the world. And that is really inspiring to other photographers and to myself. I mean, I know there's always more to learn. And so I learn every time I take my camera out with other people. They may have seen things or done things differently. And so I always like to listen, even if I disagree, to listen, and it's surprising how much you learn with that approach.
So how do you strike that balance between, getting that constructive feedback, which is good and helpful, as you said, but kind of maintaining that individualism in the photos you're taking? Where's that balance of getting feedback, but also just taking shots the way that you really want to take the shot?
Yeah, it's actually really important to know people's goals. That's what it comes back to. Like if we ask people at the start of a venture, what are your goals? And for some people, it might be like, hey, I want to like get this masterpiece on the wall, and I really want to go for I want to learn so much. I want you to give me heaps of feedback. Other people might be, I'm actually having a difficult time, or might be other reasons why they've came. And so giving people the space they need, if they need that space, or if they want more support, like giving them that support. So we always go around and actually check in with people, and people might be happy to continue what they're doing, or they might want a bit of more feedback. The other way we deal with this, Abe, is it's a really good question, but we run some clubs as well where they're all about community over competition, where we go out monthly and take photos, and we do a slideshow night, basically just sharing our images we're proud of. And I ask people before we do the slideshow, like, how much feedback do you want? You can have like low, medium, or high level. Some people are just like, they're just really happy with, it's a nice photo and that's good. But for a lot of people, they also want a bit more than that. So they might say, look, I just want a high level of feedback. And it's always encouraging, but we can give people some more tips. But I sort of like them to be leading that, if they want the feedback.
So speaking of tips, what tips do you have for photographers looking to connect with those like-minded individuals and really kind of build that strong community rather than a sense of competition?
Yeah, I think just finding people that are like-minded. If you find somebody else at work or in your family or in your area that loves photography, being able to connect with them regularly, and or even setting up a time to connect, even if it's like once a month. I mean, the more you get your camera out with other people like that, the more joy you get together. We also provide photography clubs, and we're actually expanding this to other areas of Australia where, you can come along once a month with like-minded people and just learn from each other. So, for instance, we do a variety of ventures. A lot of them you just couldn't do outside of the club. So it's taking people to those really unique situations. And then, you're hanging out with the same people once a month. You build these really strong bonds. We've had clubs going for a few years, and people just have really made some lifelong friends, as well as learn and improve their photography. What I would say is, like, your local photography club that you're going to might be the perfect place for you as well. And I'm really supportive of the clubs around. I think it's just remembering that you don't have to be the best or buy into competition. You can have that sense of encouragement in your photography as well.
That's really interesting. I never thought about that. Sometimes competition may kind of stifle and kill creativity. Really interesting. And it makes sense. It really does, that you're not kind of competing with others, but you're there more collaborating and supporting other photographers. John, great to talk to you again today. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Abe.
Adventure Art Photography will take you on an extraordinary experience to capture images in some of the most epic locations. For more information on photography or their adventure tours, visit adventureartphotography.com.au. If you like this podcast, please follow and share with friends, and join us again for more inspiring conversations.